Yuzuha's release was a game-changing moment for Zenless zzzero, bringing in Aster Yao level support, but this time for Anomaly agents. And to call her amazing, especially with how impactful Yuzuha has been for Anomaly agents, is actually a terrible understatement. However, today, alongside the prestige and glory of agents like Nangong Yu and Yuzuha, we have Velina, the first ever wind agent, who also happens to make every Anomaly agent fall in love with her. With this, today I'll be breaking down everything you need to know about Velina, including her best partners, who gains the most for her, what you'll need to build her, and so much more. But as a reminder, today's footage will be taken from the creator server, so things are subject to change. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video, and without further ado, let's get straight into it. Velina's playstyle revolves around generating resources through her EX specials, then spending them to summon a powerful cyclone while supporting her team via her core passive. She then naturally continues a cycle of building up Windbloom, sending out her cyclone, and rotating out to let her teammates take the field. With this, her gameplay can be comparable to someone like Bernice or Yuzuha, as both come onto field, are energy regen reliant, and then of course can stay off field as well. To understand how Velina's kit actually works though, let's start by quickly breaking down her skills, though again, as a reminder, I'll be breaking down each skill further in the guide for Velina once the banner releases. Velina's special resource is known as Windbloom. She begins combat with a fixed amount of it and can generate more of it by using her EX specials. She then consumes Windbloom to unleash Sweeping Cyclone, which will deal continuous damage and simultaneously trigger a backward quick assist to the previous agent. Now, despite being an Anomaly agent, Velina's core passive has her scale with energy regen, increasing both her damage and Anomaly mastery. To add to this, she gains Windbloom upon entering the battlefield and can generate additional Windbloom by using EX specials up to a max of 135 points. When she triggers Vortex though, she gains Windbite and summons a Condensed Cyclone, and if she accumulates enough of Windbite, this upgrades into a Sweeping Cyclone, which further enhances her Vortex damage. Now, when Velina hits an enemy affected by contamination using a Sweeping Cyclone though, this will trigger Chromatic Tint. This converts the cyclone into one that matches the agent's corresponding attribute and damage type, while also reducing their attribute anomaly buildup. Now, to add to this though, enemies hit by a Sweeping Cyclone also have their wind anomaly buildup res reduced. Additionally though, when either a Condensed Cyclone or Sweeping Cyclone disappears, this will explode and deals a single instance of a bloom damage, provided that the target is affected by a wind anomaly first. Velina's additional ability activates when paired with an anomaly or wind agent, and this will increase her windswept and vortex damage. Now, to add to this though, when her ultimate hits an enemy affected by a wind anomaly, this will trigger an instance of a bloom damage. Her core passive will also be enhanced with her additional ability, further increasing her anomaly buildup res reduction, while both her days dealt and anomaly buildup are also increased. As for her basic attack, this is a 5-hit combo that deals wind damage, and on the 5th hit, she gains increased anti-interrupt and reduced damage taken. Short and simple. As for her EX special though, Velina has 3 EX specials, starting with Wind Shear Purifying Rise. When activated, she unleashes a powerful wind blast that deals wind damage, and during the backward movement, she can actually dodge incoming attacks to trigger Vital View. Next is Wind Shear Triple Death Blow, and after using the EX special that we mentioned, Purifying Rise, pressing or holding the EX button will then allow Velina to continuously swing her fan, dealing wind damage. Now, after using either of these skills though, Velina can then chain into the 5th hit of her basic by pressing the basic attack button after, again, these skills. Lastly though, Wind Shear Eye of the Storm is available when Velina has enough Windbloom, and by holding her EX special or basic attack, she can consume Windbloom to summon a whirlwind that continuously attacks enemies. This action also triggers a backward assist to the previous agent, which is always helpful, while the Sweeping Cyclone remains on the field briefly, dealing wind damage to nearby enemies. Now, her assist and dodge assist are pretty similar to other agents in the game, primarily used to dodge incoming attacks, counter enemies, and enter the field safely without taking damage. Her chain attack summons a hurricane that strikes enemies multiple times, dealing wind damage again over its duration. But lastly, Velina's ultimate unleashes a series of attacks that deal high wind damage, and after this attack ends, it can trigger a quick assist again for the previous agent. As for pre-farm materials, you'll need 3,705,000 Dennies, 300 senior investigation logs, 25, 75, and 250 of the basic, advanced, and final tier of Windbite ether chips, and then you'll need 4, 32, and 30 of the basic, advanced, and controller anomaly certification seals. Following this, you'll also need 5 hamster cage passes as usual, 9 time-worn husks, and 60 higher dimensional datas, with them needing to be of the deep erosion circuit. Now let's talk about what to expect for Velina, her partners, and her best teams. As usual though, a quick disclaimer. First off, all results will be shared on my Discord, complete with images that you can scroll through, as again, a single video isn't enough for me to actually cover every single lineup and run that I tested. That said, if there's a specific result that you're curious about that isn't shown here, feel free to DM or ping me about it. Second, as expected, agent agents with access to potentials will be showcased at P6, especially since they're generally easier and more accessible to obtain compared to getting extra copies or mindscapes of a character. To start though, let's begin with double Anomaly teams featuring a support as the third slot. Velina paired with Yuzuha showed the strongest overall performance here, and with it, the Velina, Yuzuha, and Premia team was actually the highest scoring in Deadly Assault with a 44,300 and a 36,700 in Shiyu defense. Similarly, Velina, Yuzuha, and Arya achieved a 42,500 in Deadly Assault and a 38,800 in Shiyu defense, while Velina, Yuzuha, and Bernice surprisingly actually had a solid score of 37,300 in Deadly Assault, but a 39,800 Shiyu score. Now, before we go further, I'd like to point out that putting Velina and Yuzuha together with basically any other DPS likely scores you one of the highest performances of any team on this list. But while that may be the case, Bernice actually had two incredibly powerful and pretty designed for her bosses. As for the Shiyu defense, for instance, she basically was able to burn or ignite the cyclone that Velina throws out, and this then let her get to the final boss and clear quite quickly, which is pretty surprising. That said, Shiyu defense has always been a better location for Bernice in most cases, as otherwise in content like Deadly Assault, there aren't that many places where you can actually use Bernice and feel good about it. Bernice, side note aside though, basically any team that was using this lineup performed pretty well, especially with the current rotation of bosses that we had access to. Now for double Anomaly teams featuring a stunner, Velina paired with Nangong provided solid but definitely lower results compared to support teams. Velina, Nangong, and Premia scored a 37,200 in Deadly Assault and 35,300 in Shiyu to top the charts, and this of course was still well above the S rank threshold. Velina, Nangong, and Arya was close behind with a 36,400 Deadly Assault and a 33,400 Shiyu defense, while Velina, Nangong, and Alice also had a 31,300 in Deadly Assault and a near 35,000 score in Shiyu too. Finally, as for free-to-play friendly teams, Velina was still able to reach S rank thresholds, though it was definitely tougher to do so. With this, a semi-cheating, semi-free-to-play Piper, Nangong, and Velina team achieved a 23,900 Deadly Assault and a 30,000 Shiyu, which was pretty impressive, and otherwise something like a Velina, Lucy, and Bernice scored a 22,900 in Deadly Assault, but a surprising 32,200 in Shiyu defense, while Velina, Seth, and Grace was another pretty impressive 22,800 in Deadly Assault and a lackluster but still almost clearing 23,000 Shiyu defense, unable to get the S rank clear though. Now let's move to Velina's build options, starting with their W engine. Velina's signature, Joyao Dore, is her best in slot option. Its 60% energy regen main helps her with her core passive scaling, and the passive also grants her 70 anomaly proficiency, while also increasing vortex and windswept damage by 7% after using an EX special, stacking up to 2 times. Now, once at max stacks though, the entire squad will also gain an additional 60 anomaly proficiency, which honestly makes this pretty insane. The next strongest option here though is Flamemaker Shaker, and this provides 30% attack as its main stat, but its passive is what makes it more appealing for Velina. It increases her energy regen while off field by 0.6 per second, and hitting enemies with EX specials increases her damage by 3.5%, stacking up to 10 times with a cooldown of 0.3 seconds. Once she finishes stacking this though, she also gains anomaly proficiency, which makes this honestly a pretty decent engine for her too. Other limited engines like Practice Perfection, which is pretty much one of the best engines in the game for anomaly agents, is also worthwhile, but you can also use things like Angel in the Shell and Flight of Fancy. To be clear, these options do provide pretty useful value like Anomaly Mastery or Anomaly Buildup Rate, which are pretty similar and valuable for Velina, but in most cases, Velina won't be able to use some part of their secondary passives or their passives in general, which makes these less useful overall. A strong alternative if you don't have any of what I just mentioned though is Boisterous Echoes, a newer A rank event engine. This has 75 anomaly proficiency as its main stat, and its passive also restores 3.2 energy at max refinement whenever Velina triggers a vortex, and increases her damage by 18.4% when attacking enemies affected by an anomaly. Lastly though, the ever reliable Weeping Gemini is still decent too. With a 25% attack main stat, this too also provides a stackable AP buff through its passive. Now of course, each time Velina inflicts an attribute anomaly, she also gains a stack, of which she can stack up to 4 in total, with each stack again granting 48 anomaly proficiency, and this is quite a decent amount. Velina's best 4-piece drive disc is the newly introduced Wuthering Salon set. Its 2-piece bonus increases wind damage, while the 4-piece increases her anomaly proficiency after using an EX special, stacking again up to 2 times. There's a lot of that in this kit. On top of this though, when Velina triggers Windswept, she gains an additional 18% damage increase, making this easily her strongest and most consistent set. For 2-piece options though, Velina has a lot that she can choose from. Moonlight Lullaby and Swing Jazz are preferred as they help her more easily maximize her core passive, but that said, alternatives like Phaethon's Melody, Freedom Blues, or Astral Voice are still very usable too. Ultimately though, substats matter more, so it's better to use a set with good rules that support her build, even if it's not your ideal combination. As for main stats, Velina should prioritize Anomaly proficiency in the 4th slot, but honestly she does get a lot, so if you want to run attack percent, I would understand too. However, for the 5th slot, you can also choose between wind damage, attack percent, or pen ratio. And for the 6th slot, you should definitely have energy regen or anomaly mastery, as these both of course allow her to apply anomalies more quickly. For substats, you'll definitely be focusing on anomaly proficiency as your highest priority, but after this, as usual for any anomaly agent, you simply want attack percent, then flat attack and flat pen as the lowest priority. In terms of a stat goal to reach for or a sample one to look out for, you should try to reach around 2,400 attack, 350 anomaly proficiency, and approximately 2.88 energy regen. Now let's move to Velina's pros and cons. For pros, she does add an insane amount of value to anomaly agents in general, and to be more specific, she does strengthen older anomaly agents, especially including the likes of Bernice and Jane. She also has her very own signature set that works perfectly with her, and she also has a very powerful signature W engine that's being released alongside her. Now, to add to this though, she also has several bosses designed with wind weakness already, meaning that she already has a number of bosses to shine even on release, and yes, this is all while fire still pretty much has nothing. As for cons, she can sometimes feel awkward with certain agents if they were formerly reliant on disorder, like with Miyabi, and she's also tied pretty exclusively to anomaly agents, but this isn't necessarily a con though, since that's kind of her intended purpose. Now, as the first agent of 3.0, Velina is an excellent and very powerful agent release. While agents like Nangung and Yuzaha are already powerful anomaly supports, Velina is another extremely strong and helpful agent to even standard S-rank agents like Grace. Combined with Yashin Guang's 3.0 rerun, both new and veteran players have access to one of the best anomaly buffers upon 3.0's launch, alongside the strongest attack agent in the game, making endgame progression significantly easier the second that the game updates. Yes, this does also mean that I believe Velina is definitely worth pulling for in 3.0, but of course you could also wait for someone like Norma, who's likely going to perform well with agents like Pyroi if you're looking to make the MC the strongest that they can be. In truth though, what an agent like Velina does for anomaly agents is pretty game-changing, especially for her anomaly-based buffs, vortex and wind-based debuffs, and as the current endgame seems most suited towards wind weakness, if you'd like to get ahead and stay strong in the current endgame, Velina definitely feels like a character that you should consider or actually pull for. Honestly though guys, this Velina character looks super nice for so many anomaly agents, and as someone who's really missed playing characters like Jane, Grace, and Bernice, I'm happy she's finally giving so much love to these older characters. Thanks again for watching though guys, I'll see you all next time, stay safe, stay healthy, good night.